Okay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Foreign Goal. Thank you for joining us today from wherever you are across the globe for the Sunday show. I'm Simon Graham, and I'm joined by three chaps who need zero introduction, but I'm going to introduce them anyway. Adam, Gary, Nabeel, how you doing? How's your week been?
Another great week. Mundane.
We should never
Gloomy
get Nabeel to
skies.
introduce himself.
Rain.
We're so
Raining.
positive.
We're in a
This isn't a good way to
lockdown.
open the podcast.
No, I'll twist it on its head. It's been a fantastic week. I've been full of
Wow.
energy. I've been
Yeah.
working out. I've been eating. And I've been
Eating, really defining the mould here by eating Nabeel.
yeah, and I've been very happy.
And you've
in
been on
life.
LinkedIn.
And I've been on LinkedIn a lot as well.
Sounds like you're taking some of that white powder as well, blimey.
And are you there, Mr. Gary Painter?
Right.
In the distance, far in the distance, you can hear Mr. Gary Painter. We are having a couple of technical issues today, which is why you can't see our face and why Adam sounds like he's using a megaphone and Gary sounds like he's in France. But
I'm still on the other side of the field. My microphone's still too loud.
but we'll have to make do today. I think it's appropriate that we get fresh reactions to that Liverpool game. So let's start off with the football today. And I'm going to hand over to Nabeel and Gary, who are two very enthusiastic Liverpool fans.
Where to start with that performance?
Are you happy with a 0-0 draw against an on-form United side?
Not really. I want us to win every game, but considering how bad we've been, I'm not surprised it was a draw. Hey, at least we got a clean sheet in the end.
Yeah.
But we have some serious issues going forward at the moment. We can't seem to score. We're not creating anything. Defensively, we've been okay, and we have been okay since Van Dijk and Gomez got injured. However, attacking-wise, we just look a shadow of ourselves for about a month now.
Something's not quite right up top, is it? Both Salah and Mane don't seem to have that edge at the moment.
Yeah, and I wonder whether in the summer it's time to sort of disband that front three and maybe look to get
freshen it up.
Yeah, freshen it up. I think it feels like the right time. Who am I taking out of that front three?
Yeah.
If the fee's right, then I wouldn't be against Salah going and then getting an Mbappe in or a Haaland.
So you're keeping Firmino in there.
Well, this is the thing.
The man that hasn't been on form for like over a year.
No,
apart
but
from one game.
Yeah, but if we get Haaland in, for example, Haaland goes through the middle, and then Firmino, if we play a 4-2-3-1, Firmino can play as the 10. But alternatively, if we did get rid of Firmino, I guess it makes Haaland's role pretty straightforward as a replacement. Plus, I do think Jota's going to come on leaps and bounds when he's back from injury towards the end of this season, and I imagine eventually at some point he'll take over one of the front three spots. Plus, they're all getting very old. They're all getting towards their 30s now, and they should, in theory, be in their peak of their careers. But I guess the standards of the last two seasons seems to have taken its toll on them, and for whatever reason, they just don't seem to look like they have that hunger and drive to, I guess, score the goals and win games for us at the moment.
Yeah. It felt like at times we were kind of hanging on in that game because United had some big chances, and I think if it wasn't for the likes of Fabinho, Alisson, then we probably, would have lost that game. We didn't really create anything.
No,
I think
we didn't.
Like one shot on target or something crazy like that.
Yeah,
Maybe
20 speculative effort from Thiago from like 25 yards out. It's hardly encouraging considering.
What do you think of Shaqiri in the midfield rather than on the wing?
So initially, when the game started, I thought he was really good, but then as the half went on, you could tell he was struggling.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was just the specific role he was playing, but at times it was really uncomfortable to watch. He was getting overrun and he was just losing the ball as well in really dangerous areas, and that wasn't helping the situation because United, as we all know, are a counter-attacking side, so just giving the impetus to them. Yeah,
definitely. And Adam, I suppose we better talk about that West Ham win. Did you watch that game live?
Well, I did, yeah. I'm still recovering from how boring the Liverpool game was, honestly. What a way to spend my Sunday afternoon.
But, to be honest, I thought for a 0-0, it wasn't too bad. I mean, there's worse 0-0s.
Yeah, if you're a Liverpool United fan, it wasn't too bad to watch. But being a neutral, I mean, geez.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from.
two teams that just like couldn't do it like anything right on the ball. Anyway,
They always hype up the United Liverpool fixture, and it never lives
honestly,
up to the
It
expectation.
never. It had 0-0 written over it, especially
Honestly.
when United went top of the league in midweek. It was like,
Yeah.
first versus second. This is going to be
That-
the Titanic clash, and
Yeah,
it never
Sky were
ends.
really hyping up that like title race. This is
Yeah,
the
they never.
defining
They
game.
always do that as well. Do you remember a few seasons ago they had that Red Monday thing promo going on,
I think so. Yeah.
and it was just like the most boring 0-0. De Gea admittedly had a worldie of a game, but it was just like
Yeah.
really, really drab 0-0. And it always seems to be the case with these games. Like when they hype up the really big games, like even earlier on in the season, that United City game, I could not have thought of a worse game to have
Yeah.
watched in a Manchester derby for a long, long time.
And that's without Mourinho this time around. Clearly
Yeah.
he's not the problem.
How much of that do you guys think is down to the circumstances, the lack of fans, the lack of a pre-season, just terrible
Um,
football all round?
yeah, I think Liverpool in particular, Klopp's really, built in a work ethic which really feeds off the crowd, and I think they've really struggled more than, although they're still high in the table. Yeah, I think a lot of their lack of creative play might have come from either complacency or the lack of fans, behind them, because Anfield really is a force in itself. But
Yeah,
um,
what I'd say is last season was a bit of a novelty, I guess, in the sense that as Liverpool fans, we just wanted the season to resume just so we could have that crowning moment.
yeah,
But this season just seems, at least for me personally, it's just really tedious to watch at the moment. It's just
yeah,
not. It's not the product that we're all used to in the Premier League, where it's high
uh-huh,
octane, intense football, 90 miles an
uh-huh.
hour. It's just like
Exactly.
really,
No one void it, mate. No one void. Realistic
yeah,
option.
null and void.
It's
Um,
interesting because most sports seem to be able to keep up, the entertaining spectacle, but football seems to be struggling more than
yeah,
most sports to stay entertaining, I guess.
exactly. Of all the behind closed doors sports I've seen since, I guess, the resumption of professional elite sports, football has been the one that struggled. Like the cricket, for example, that's been fine. Like there hasn't
Yeah.
been that much of an impact noticed from the crowds, apart from the
Uh-huh.
obvious like lack of crowd noise. But generally, like even the tennis, like the U.S. Open, the guys when they were playing, they didn't seem that there wasn't that much of a drop off in performances. I guess how much of it, yeah, like you said, it's a lot of, I guess football's an emotional sport, and
Yeah.
I imagine the players just as much as the fans run off that, so it
Yeah.
can't be easy.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it. And sorry, Adam, we'll come back to West Ham now. Were you happy with that result? The 1-0? Was it
yeah,
comfortable
of
1-0?
course. We usually mess games like that up against Burnley. We've had plenty of bad games against them in recent memory, so it was actually quite good. We were able to come away with a 1-0 win. It wasn't a great game. We could have easily won 3 or 4-0. We missed a lot of chances, but it shows that we've come quite far to be able to just to grind out a 1-0 win against a team that usually causes a massive headache. And Burnley aren't an easy team to beat usually. They don't score many goals, but they're hard to break down. So it was good to see we were able to do that. And keeps us pushing up the table. 11 points to safety, nearly at the magic 40-point mark. So it should
Yeah, I don't think
be
you guys
relegated this
really need,
season.
I don't think you guys are gonna have to worry about that. You're probably gonna be pushing top top table this season, I'd imagine.
Top table. Top of the
Top
table.
table.
Well, not
Top
top of
table.
not top of the table, the top half. Sorry, that's what I should
Fair
have said.
play, West Ham.
Fair play,
They've been
West
nearly
Ham.
relegated to the top of the table.
You heard it here.
Wait,
Um,
yeah.
Adam, out of curiosity, what have you made of Ben Rama's performances for West Ham?
Yeah, he does really well. He needs to get his end product. He ends up a habit of sort of messing up in the final third. He can create a lot of chances, but he often chooses the wrong final chance. Or his work rate's been criticised a little bit by Moyes, but he actually is he's getting better at it, and he's starting to find his rhythm in the Premier League. He's starting to step up to the next level. He definitely should be in the team every week, and he's one of those players that can easily win the game for us on any day of the week. He just needs to find that last decision bit making in the box, just know who to pass to, and he'll be a great player for us.
Awesome. And I know Sky were really trying to push this Liverpool United like title race agenda, but when you look at the table, that's really not the case. Like, I think Leicester are still within a shout. Last week I had them to probably not finish in the top 4, but honestly,
Yeah.
I've definitely changed my mind on that, and I think maybe they could be in the title race. I'm not sure.
No, I think Leicester will just do what they usually do. There'll be a drop off at some point. Man City are the hot favourites for winning the league, and
Yeah,
the
4-game
prediction.
winning streak now.
Yeah, and if they win all their games in Hatton, they'll go clear of United and Liverpool. I can't see past them at the moment, only because, and it's not because of them
John
being that.
Stones has just scored.
Precisely
Have
my
they?
point.
Breaking news. Okay. The
Precisely
man
my
on
point.
form, John
Yeah,
Stone.
man on form.
But in regards to Leicester, like we had the year they won it, we all were like, "Oh no, they're not going to win it. They're not going to win it." But that season was so open, just like this year. So I really wouldn't be surprised if they were to go on to win it. Like I don't think they will, but it wouldn't be a surprise if they did.
Can we just talk about, if they did, how much of a Premier League legend Jamie Vardy would be? I know he already is, but if he had 2 Premier League titles for a team that shouldn't really be beating teams like Man City and Liverpool to the title, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's already, like you said, a
Why
Premier
aren't they?
League
Though?
great.
You what?
Why aren't they meant to be beating teams like Liverpool and City?
Well, I mean, on paper, I mean, when you look at money spent, wages and things like that, on paper, Liverpool, Man City, even Chelsea, they should be finishing above Leicester, but right?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
agree?
well, if you go by money spent, then yeah. But if you go by the way they set up, then no.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, I get what you mean by money spent. But I wouldn't say just because they spent less money than everyone else. Because we've seen the players that you can buy for cheap. Like, just look at Mahrez and Encante. Like, they were bought for next to nothing. And Vardy, I guess. Well, like, all spent like under £1 million pretty much. And yet, they're worth a lot more than that. So in terms of recruitment, they've probably got the best recruitment out of the three.
Yeah. Let's come away from the Premier League for a moment and let's talk La Liga. Atletico Madrid won again, and they do look unstoppable at the moment. I think they're on a 5-game winning streak right now. And we say this every week, but I don't think. I think the title's theirs. I think you're all in agreement with me here.
Yeah, heavy
Barcelona move up
favourites.
to 3rd spot, which is interesting. Could they be back in some kind of race?
Well, they're going to win a trophy tonight, aren't they?
Yeah, potentially. If they it's the Supercopa de España, Barcelona.
That's not so. What's that, like their version of the Carling Cup or something?
No, it's their version.
European,
It is their version of their Community Shield, but for some reason
Oh,
they turned it into a. It's an actual trophy. It actually counts.
now.
Yeah, it's a
Why is it so
tournament
late
now.
in the season?
Because marketing reasons, I imagine, is the main
Oh.
reason. Usually,
Yeah, where
I
is it
think
being held this year?
it's being held in Spain, but last year I think
last
it
year
was
like
in
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. Exactly, it's a money spinning thing more than anything else at the moment. But like you said, I can't really see past Atletico. I think they're very heavy favourites now, especially because Real Madrid dropped points in I think it would have been last
They
week.
did lose to Cornella though.
They did. But yeah, Real Madrid seem to be faltering. Barcelona aren't the Barcelona of yesteryear, and Atletico Madrid aren't conceding goals at the moment and just winning games. So
Okay,
all that would equate to a league title, you'd think.
and an interesting game tonight. Who have we got for Inter Milan and Juventus? Gary, you're a betting man. Who would you put your money on for this game?
Juventus.
Yeah, I'd say Juventus. Juventus have actually they've bounced back in the last few games. They're creeping up the table again. That victory against AC Milan away from home
That's massive.
that was a big victory, because if AC Milan would have won that, I would have had them down as favourites at that stage for the league. But Juve winning it in the way that they did, I think it's laid down a bit of a statement again in Serie A.
Like tonight's game's like pretty much a 6-pointer as well.
Exactly,
because
yeah.
If Juventus lose, they're 7 points behind both AC and Inter, and AC Milan still have to play tomorrow night. Whereas obviously if they win, then Inter are 3 points behind AC Milan and haven't played a game more. But Juventus are only potentially 4 points behind AC Milan.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a massive game. But I fully expect Juventus to come through it. Like Inter are scoring goals for fun, but Juventus, they don't look bad this season. They don't look bad when Ronaldo's not in the team.
Yeah. It looks like a similar story to the Premier League, with like it's really tight between like the top 7. I know there is a 3-point gap between first and second, but you know, everyone else, it looks like they could be.
But this is the way in most countries, though. If you look in France and you look in Germany, okay, maybe not Germany after this weekend,
Yeah, definitely not.
like doing everyone like living bottling it, but like all the leagues this season seem really close, and maybe it's because there's no fans, but
Yeah,
It makes
yeah,
it makes
it's
it
a bit
exciting though, because there's nothing more boring from a neutral point of view than a league being decided 10 games from the end of the season. It's more riveting right until the end, I think.
yeah,
weird.
yeah. As
So
a neutral,
yeah,
I think it's good entertainment. As a
Maybe you're
fan
in the
of
title race.
yeah, as a fan of one of those teams, I can imagine it's the most torturous thing in the world. But
yeah,
Yours is more caused by not signing anyone, but I get your
yeah.
point.
No centre back signing. There's a bit of I know
Even
how we all
Firmino
feel
up
about
front,
that.
yeah,
Henderson at centre
striker.
back, although he did a good job, he's not a centre back.
Watching
no,
the game along with Gary was quite enlightening.
Oh yeah, you get some good takes.
Oh yeah, definitely. I knew what was coming on the podcast.
yeah, I think we're in danger
I
of
just like to
this.
say that I also listened to Adam watch the game, and it
Yeah,
was just as much fun. I imagine I see Adam listening to me.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
quite. Yeah, me watching West Ham's quite a sight.
You know, he said he was happy with that result earlier on, but he wasn't too happy during the game.
uh,
Can I just say, how easily do Man United win free kicks and penalties? I'm not going to get started on it, but it seemed like every 5 minutes they had a free kick.
yeah, some shady stuff going on.
Well, like I
I'm
said
not.
to Nabeel earlier before we started the podcast, when it came to offsides, Man U were allowed to play the full advantage till they lost the ball, and then the play was stopped completely, so Liverpool couldn't counter attack. But every time Liverpool were offside, if United got the ball back, it was carry on playing, no need to stop play. And it's just like, well, hang on, like where's the consistency? Because
Yeah,
if a team's offside and then you got a chance to counter, you got more chance of scoring. Whereas if play stopped, you're allowing United to get back and defend. And I'm not going to say anything dodgy is going on, but we've
yeah,
known it has been for the last
but
20 years with United.
you're saying Ollie probably slipped the ref a Snickers or something.
Oh, I'm not saying they did that. I'm just saying the United owners 20 years ago gave the FA a large payout. And all refs are given written instructions to give everything
Yeah.
their way if things aren't going well for United.
So you're not saying that,
But
Gary,
like
but
I'm
you are
saying, I'm
saying
not.
that.
I'm not saying United are corrupt. I'm just saying
But they are.
their owners have paid the referees to be corrupt.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Breaking news for the podcast.
Okay. League One.
But that's a
PSG moved
headline for the podcast. I'll get some blooming listeners for once.
This might get us some more listeners. More than 10. More than 10 this week. League One. PSG moved back to the top of the table,
What's
but
new?
Leon could get back there with a win this
Oh, it's
evening.
Hull.
Yeah,
Oh,
No, League One.
Ligue
yeah.
1.
Did you say
Ligue
Hull?
1. He means Ligue
Oh.
1.
League One in France, not the League One in fucking England.
Yeah. Well, let's be
Yeah,
honest,
that's
guys. PSG are going to inevitably end up winning the league again. It's just a matter of when.
I don't
Can't-
know, honestly.
I just can't see, especially with Poch in now as well. Like,
I know there's a bit of a gap between third and fourth, but that top three is really tight. And Leon they have a game in hand, which I guess we'll find out tonight if they go top or not. But yeah, it's probably the most entertaining that league's been in a while.
the Uber Eats League. What a great name. What a great name. And
Oh yeah, that's what it's
I honestly
officially
think
called now.
Leon win this season.
really?
Would
I
you
think
put
not
money on
having Europe. No, I wouldn't. But
that?
not having
Honestly
European
think.
football this season and keeping the squad that they had for last season that did so well in Europe. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing to say they can't put together 20 decent results. PSG are going to get more injuries to their front three, and we've seen them struggle without them. So
You see that Neymar supposedly meant to sign a new contract, which I thought was shocking, but well, not shocking because obviously he's getting paid a fucking boots worth of fucking money to play for them. But I'm shocked he wants to stay in that league and not try and hand somewhere else. Like maybe Premier League maybe, but maybe go back to Spain, maybe go to Italy. I thought he might want to try his hand even Germany somewhere else, but apparently he's going to sign a new contract.
I still think he'll leave. I know sometimes players sign contracts and then end up leaving, but personally, I think he should leave, and I think he will. But we'll
who's this?
see.
Sorry,
Neymar,
he's all about the money. He'll stay there
you think?
unless someone offers him more money. He's staying. It's so
Yeah.
annoying because when he first came through, and he had all these flashy skills, and he was playing for Barcelona. You know, he looked like the kind of player that was going to take the world by storm and just be like better than Ronaldo and Messi have ever been. But it's so clear that he's more about fame and money than just playing football.
It's a shame, really, because him, Messi, and Suarez together were awesome to watch.
That game where they came back in the Champions League against PSG, you know, he was absolutely world class that day. But he just hasn't looked like that kind of player. He doesn't look like he wants to be that player. He just wants to go on the pitch, do a few step overs, collect his paycheck, go home, have a cozy lifestyle.
Okay, I suppose we better talk about the Bundesliga. Although
So Gary's worldview of football is just something else. I can imagine when he's 8 years old, sat in a leather chair with a fag, and a pint of like Strongbow, just like back in my day, fucking Danny Ewan up front, he'd put his fucking head in every challenge. You know, he's pussy these days.
Well, you're saying Gary smoked as a kid?
He smokes right now.
He smoked in the womb.
And he won't look any older. He'll look exactly the same like he does now, just with grey hair.
I'll never be grey.
Let's talk about the Bundesliga, even though it's, you know, we all think it's set in stone. But
well, again, another week where every team has the chance to overtake Bayern Munich. All of them flop, and then Bayern Munich just win their game and just go clear.
Yeah.
And it didn't even look like they were going to win that game either. It was 1-0 for a while.
Yeah.
Later on, it's ridiculous. No one wants to beat them. Probably because they know their best players will then go to Bayern Munich.
Please, Bayern Munich, don't take our best players.
It's interesting. It's interesting to see Union Berlin, you know, within a shout of the top four. Are they a team that are normally around that spot?
Gary?
Well, you know what it is. They signed a player, and it's just improved the squad massively. Lloris Karius is like, I know he sits on the bench, but the influence he has on that team is second to none.
It's
I think
just
it's just
good
his good looks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, him being on that bench, every other team's too focused on him being on the bench. Like Union Berlin can do whatever they want, and they get results as a result.
They're like, what hair product does he use? And then while they're looking at his hair, the other team go and score.
Exactly.
So
that's just how they play.
Yeah, that's a good take. Gary, do you want to talk about Ajax before we move away from football?
Contribute to Sebastian Haller signing for them.
Well, he seems to be a good signing.
Yeah, he's found his level.
Well, I think Ajax are probably better than West Ham. But,
shot.
You know, I can't remember the last time West Ham were in the semi-final of the Champions League.
Ajax are better than West Ham, but they're playing in a league where the rest of the teams are basically fucking Stockport.
Potentially. But if that wins you the league, wins you the league. But yeah, they're 3 points clear now. 6 games unbeaten. Haller scored and he's assisted today. It's going very well. That's all we need to talk about. The league got very boring very quickly. The competition just disappeared.
We're now going to go into the most thrilling part of the show, which is the cricket segment.
Nabeel is I'm going to eat my burger.
We'll turn the microphones off this part, and Gary, Nabeel can continue.
I'll have my moment.
The great thing about no video is we can get up for this section. I'm joking, Nabeel. I'm joking.
Yeah.
The floor's yours.
It's been an entertaining week of cricket once again. We
haven't watched it. How would I know?
Yeah, well, that's your fault, guys. You're
Adam used to be in a cricket team, Nabeel, so you should really be asking him questions.
Asking me about it, mate.
Okay.
Got plenty of sixes in my day. Sell it to me, Nabeel. Sell me cricket.
Well, you're not very good at it. That's all I need to say.
You're not selling me cricket. I don't want to play it. Can you sell me the sport to watch it?
There's a lot of money involved.
I watch Formula 1 not because I want to be a Formula 1 driver, Nabeel. I can barely drive my car at 30 miles an hour, not 180.
I'd recommend you watch a bit of T20 cricket. That's the most digestible format of the game.
Were England struggling for runs today, Nabeel?
What happened? Yeah, see, Simon knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I know the game.
So speaking of England, they're currently in Sri Lanka playing a 2-match Test series against them. They've been largely in control of the whole Test match. Joe Root got a double 100 yesterday, and Sri Lanka have been really bad, admittedly, like really, really poor. But today they had a bit of a collapse. They're only chasing a very small target of 74 runs, and they've ended the day on 30 odd for the loss of 3 wickets. I think they should still end up sealing the victory tomorrow morning, but those familiar fragilities in that England batting lineup, which have been happening a lot in the last few years. But nonetheless, a good performance from England. They should end up sealing it, and then I guess moving away from that series and into going down under, got the Australia-India series. So it's very evenly poised at the moment. India have had a bit of a fight back yesterday. They're playing. They're heavily depleted. They're a bit like Liverpool at the moment. They've had a lot of injuries, so they've had to basically play 3 new debutants who have contributed. They both Tackle and Washington Sundar, because that's one of Gary's favorite players. They got a couple of 50s. Again, Australia have a lead at the moment going into the second innings. It's just how, I guess, can India bowl them out for a relatively modest total, and then
Do you think they will?
no, I think Australia are too strong. It helps that they have their full strength side as well, and they're playing in a ground where they hardly ever lose. I'd be very surprised if India don't lose. They put up a great fight considering how many injuries they had, and they're missing their captain. But
Who are you rooting for in that game, Nabeel, or are you easy?
well, traditionally, you're taught not to like Australia, so of course I'm going to be rooting for India. But it's a good series. It's a good series to watch. But when we get to the Ashes next winter, I guess that's when we're patriotic Englishmen.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much really it in terms of world cricket. Nothing.
Well,
What's to look out for next week?
Oh, one at a time, guys.
Well, Gary's saying he was excited, but I was just wondering what's to look forward to the next week of cricket. What's coming up?
Well, we got another test in the England-Sri Lanka series. And then we've got the...
Gary's had enough.
There's a lot of... Basically, England's I guess, cricket this year is going to be pretty stacked. They've got a lot of tests to play. They've got the World T20. They've got the World T20.
Exciting, does it? It just sounds like...
Gary's pretty stacked.
It's like a maths exam. It's not really...
Turn to page 3, please.
5 days of guys stood in the field watching a guy hit a ball. In all seriousness, no, England are going to lose in the morning. They're going to absolutely bottle it. However, the team that didn't bottle it, the Pittsburgh Penguins, first win of the season.
Nicely on to the next segment.
Yeah, nicely into the hockey. Gary Painter, the floor is yours.
Pittsburgh Penguins got thrashed in the first 2 games, but just won on penalties to win game number 3.
Gary's our in-house hockey fan. He actually used to play ice hockey.
Yeah,
back in junior
skate.
high.
I can't ice skate, but yeah, very good hockey player.
He doesn't need skate.
I just stand there and hit the hockey puck. I'm really good at it, I'm really good at hitting a hockey puck. One of my favorite things to do in the day.
I was meant to wake up and watch the LA Kings play at 3 a.m. the other night, but
did a good job of that.
Yeah, exactly. They lost anyway, so it's not the end of the world. So, but yeah, the Penguins, they're could have a good season ahead of them.
Well, they lost the first 2 games quite badly, so I don't think they will. And they only won the 3rd game on penalties. Everyone apart from one guy scored.
But the Pittsburgh Penguins, they always start this way.
Yeah. The Penguins, they're the same every year. They start poorly, and then they get a bit of momentum. This win today on penalties, during that final penalty, that's going to give them that massive boost, and they're going to go on a nice 5 or 6 winning streak.
Yeah,
that's going to shoot them straight up the table. And come the Stanley Cup, the Pittsburgh Penguins will be lifting it.
What could be the Guildford Flames, Gary? Just as easily.
Well, I don't think the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to play the Guildford Flames. I don't think that's a game that's ever happened.
Okay, we'll come away from the hockey.
The only hockey notes you've got, it just says NHL, Pittsburgh Penguins are really shit, and that's the only notes we've got.
Pretty much. We know nothing about hockey. Sorry for wasting the listeners' time.
This is why our view count is so low.
Let's talk
to be
about
fair, that segment was still more entertainment than the fucking cricket segment.
Everyone's gone. He's not even there anymore.
He's just like, I don't know what about.
Let's talk about an American sport we do watch, the NBA.
Well,
Gary, what's going on with the Warriors?
Oh, mate. Games postponed galore at the moment for the Warriors.
But even before the postponements, loss after loss.
No, it wasn't.
2 losses
50%
in a row,
ratio,
right?
mate.
No,
Oh,
two
yeah.
losses in a...
Yeah, this week. Yeah, so we started the week with a win over Toronto Raptors, where we nearly threw it away right at the end, in the final quarter, but we held on. And then we lost to the Suns and the Pacers. Quite badly, actually. And it was
Yeah.
very bad. And it doesn't look like it's going to be a good season now.
I think that's proving that, when Steph Curry is double teamed, like who else is going to step up? Like
That's the
Draymond
thing.
Green?
Like that first game against the Trailblazers, they double teamed him, and everyone saw, oh, without him, that the team can't do anything. And then obviously he did that 62-point game where he looked really
Yeah.
good. For the last 2 games, they just double teamed him, and Kelly Oubre is still shit.
Yeah. That's the
And
thing. Kelly Oubre is always in loads of space. No one seems to bother with him, and you just know he's going to miss the three.
yeah, they don't bother him because they know he's missing.
Yeah.
Like if they had a proper shooter on their team, other than Steph Curry, they'd win so much more.
Yeah.
But before this week, the games they had lost was against teams that you'd expect them to lose to, like the Nets, Trailblazers, etc. But
True.
living the 2 last games, they should have been more competitive at least. They just didn't look like a team that's going to compete.
We have an interesting matchup though, the Lakers against the Warriors on Tuesday evening or Wednesday morning. You gonna stay up for that one or?
I like had the Warriors won their last 2 games, I would have done, but I feel like it's just going to be a straightforward Lakers win.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to stay up and pay to watch
Yeah,
the
that's the
Lakers
problem.
destroy the Warriors.
Like if your team loses, then you've wasted you've stayed up to 6 a.m. for no reason.
Exactly. You've
Um,
ruined your sleep pattern for nothing, which I've done a few times already this season.
Yeah, and to be honest, I am confident the Lakers will win that game.
The
Just because
Lakers look too good. Like they look like they're going to beat every team this season. But
yeah,
they've had a few defeats, but they were narrow defeats.
And the last 3 games, they've really beaten the teams by like 30, 25 margin, and they've really upped the defensive efforts. Marc Gasol's looking like he's starting to get a hang of the system.
Their game the other day, Zion Williamson looked awful.
Yeah, did you see the blocks Anthony Davis got on him? He just, to be fair, Zion did get 21 points, but he didn't look his usual self. He really struggled. But it's interesting right now. The Celtics are down by, close to 30 points against the Knicks, and they're probably
still
are
missing a few players.
Yeah, they are, to be fair. But do you think James Harden coming to the Nets is gonna? Are the Celtics still the favourites for the Eastern Conference? In your opinion, at least.
I don't know. I think it'll be a 3-way thing now. With the Nets getting Harden, which, like I said to you yesterday, not sure how it's going to work out. Because it's going to be 3. Yeah, but there's only 2 of them playing, him and Durant.
Yeah, true.
When Irving comes, Irving comes back in, they've got 3 people that all want to shoot.
Yeah.
And don't really want to get back to defend properly. I'm not sure any team's going to be able to. Like, they're basically going to rely on 2 people to defend, whilst they just keep taking 3-pointers. I'm not sure that will work. However, if it does work somehow, or maybe even if they just only start 2 of them at a time, which I can't really see happening. But if they did, it could be a really good formula for them winning. Like start 2 of them and then bring one on when resting one or 2 of them. So they've always got a superstar on.
Yeah, in the rotation, they've always got a superstar on, definitely.
Yeah, but if they can ensure that it works out for them, then it's between the Nets, the Bucks, and the Celtics.
Yeah,
because the Bucks have started well, to be fair to them.
I still don't think the Bucks have what it takes. And they might win the Eastern Conference, but I don't think they have what it takes to get far in the playoffs.
No, I don't think they'll win overall, and I think there's much better teams in the West than the Bucks. And I
Yeah.
think the Celtics and the Nets are probably the only teams from the East that will go far in the playoffs. But
Uh-huh.
the Bucks have definitely a chance of winning the Eastern Conference, in my opinion.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, Celtics have been really hit hard recently because they've had to play with pretty much 8, 9 players in their
Yeah.
squad
And
the
they're
last
still
two
top
or
of the
3 games.
conference,
Yeah,
which is
won't be after this game, I don't think. I think they'll move down as a result,
yeah, they possibly will.
and just be joint up. But the one thing that has really annoyed me this season is there's so many teams that are playing a team with 8 players because of
Uh-huh.
obviously COVID regulation. But the Warriors, every game they've had where their opponents have got COVID has been postponed because too many of them. And
Yeah.
it's just so annoying because nobody in the Warriors team has got COVID since
No.
preseason when Wiseman and Green had it and they missed the
Uh-huh.
preseason games. But now they're fully fit. And, there's teams out there getting easy wins because of where, people are playing pretty much a team full of rookies.
Uh-huh.
And the Warriors are having to play full strength teams every game. And then the games that their opponents do get hit just gets postponed. And it's going to
Uh-huh.
hurt the Warriors later on in the season when they're having to
Yeah,
play a few games back to back.
exactly. I mean, like you said, they're fit and healthy now. We don't know how long that'll be the case. So,
Exactly.
um,
And like
you've
I
put in,
said, too many teams are getting easy wins because of where they're playing COVID hit teams because of where
uh-huh.
they've just got enough players. And Warriors aren't getting that luck at the moment. And that could, come the end of the regular season, that could be the difference between who
Yeah.
qualifies for the playoffs and who doesn't. Who got the most easy games due to COVID?
Yep, 100%. And last thing we'll talk about here is Luka Doncic. You've enjoyed watching him recently.
I have.
I saw him last season. He had a really great year. What is it you enjoy about his game so much?
He's just everywhere. He does everything all the time. Like I don't remember seeing anything from the Mavericks that wasn't Doncic.
Uh-huh.
The other guy, I think he's Polish or something.
Porzingis?
Yeah, yeah. I wasn't going to pronounce his name.
I think he's the power forward or the center.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
think he's from Poland or Slovenia or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And he's come in and he's looked okay.
Mhm.
For such a big guy, he takes a lot of threes. It's just a bit weird. You think he'd just be under the net, but he's constantly
But
the only
I
one
think
outside the arc.
that's what makes him so interesting, though, the fact he can make threes. A lot of these big guys aren't so good at it. But
But yeah, back to Doncic.
yeah.
He had a few triple doubles in the last week. He was 1 assist, I think it was, or rebound the other night away from another one.
Uh-huh.
He lost his matchup against Giannis, which I was a bit annoyed about
Yeah.
because Giannis is good, but I don't rate him as highly as other legends of the sport. I don't
Yeah.
think it'd be fair to call Giannis a legend. Definitely not now anyway.
I
But I
always
don't.
find it harder to rate a guy who's really big. I just feel like it's much easier for them to get to the basket than someone who's a little bit smaller.
Yeah, I just don't really rate. He's obviously good and he's quite powerful, but in
Yeah.
terms of actual ability, pretty bad.
Yeah, I think it's hard to say that Doncic won't be a star. I just think he might need to make a trade if he's gonna win a championship.
Yeah, I can't ever see the Mavericks winning the
Yeah,
championships or even getting far in the playoffs. But if
yeah.
you got a player like Doncic, you've definitely got a chance.
I'd love to see him at the Lakers when LeBron retires, but I don't think it will happen, to be honest. But I think it'd be a good replacement. But we'll come away from the NBA because we've spent a bit of time on this.
Yeah.
We'll cover the NFL. I watched the first half of the Green Bay Packers and the Rams, and the Rams. We talk about their defense. Well, we don't talk about it much on this show, but people talk about their, how good their defense is. But it wasn't enough to keep back Aaron Rodgers' Packers, and they advanced 32-18 into the next round. Normally, I'd have a graphic on the screen at this point, so I do apologize that I can't, show you the playoff bracket. But the Bills also won last night, 17-3 against the Ravens. It was a really low-scoring game until halftime, at which point I gave up. It was 3-0, which for an NFL game is very low. And it was interesting to see. The Bills had about 6,000 people in the stadium, but it sounded about 60,000. And that really played a part. And it's the first time in a long time that I've seen a crowd influence any kind of sports game, but they really did have an impact. And I think it caught the Ravens by surprise because you could see it was really affecting their plays and it seemed to really get into their head. So it was quite nice to see. It was nice to hear the crowd again, a real crowd at least. So, yeah, we have an interesting matchup tonight. The Browns against the Chiefs. Of course, I'll be rooting for the Chiefs, but, we might see an upset. The form of the likes of Nick Chubb, we never know what could happen. And the Chiefs do like conceding, especially with the rushing game. So we will see what happens tonight. But as always, we'll keep you
Go on,
posted.
Chiefs.
Sorry?
Come on, the Chiefs.
Hey, good man, Gary. Good man. You got
Betting
good taste.
purposes.
You what?
Betting purposes.
Oh right. Yeah, you've got them to win the Super Bowl. Okay, we'll come away from the NFL. Adam, is there any Formula One news this week?
Nothing too exciting to talk about. Hamilton. Read off. Read off that.
So loud there.
Nothing to talk about. Honestly, nothing really to talk about. Nothing's happened. It's just livery reveals, and Hamilton's not signed his contract.
Yeah.
Renault's changed their team principal, and that's about it. Nothing. I have to shout home that it's very quiet off season so far.
Is that what an F1 off season's normally like? Is it probably not as exciting with there's not like transfers or anything happening?
Not really, because the driver lineup's always confirmed before the end of the season anyway. So,
okay.
Yeah. So I mean, you know by the end of the season, practically apart from Mercedes, but it's going to be Hamilton. What your lineup's going to be. So you don't really learn much new. It's just usually changes of team directors, maybe, and a new kit reveal. Basically, that's about it. Hopefully, there'll be more to talk about in the next coming weeks.
Awesome. Gary, Nabeel, could you fill us in on tennis news this week?
Yeah.
Murray's got COVID. That's your big breaking news.
Oh, breaking news.
Yeah.
He might not make the Australian Open. I mean, he wasn't going to win it in the first place.
Was he not?
No. I don't even think he would have got past the. He would have been
Do
a
we
qualifier.
truly think the Australian Open's going to go ahead, though? They're receiving some proper backlash right now.
Yeah, I've heard the Australian public aren't best pleased about it.
No.
I think it probably will have to happen though, purely because all the other major sporting events have been happening at the moment in Australia. Like
I'm not too sure because obviously they're giving players priority flights instead of actual Australian citizens, which obviously a lot of people aren't happy about. And then there was two separate flights that had COVID, like people with COVID on.
Yeah.
And as a result, players now have to stay in their room. They're not allowed to leave at all for 14 days. Like, they're basically imprisoning the players. Like, they're not allowed to leave their room under any circumstances. Unless obviously there's like a fire, I'd imagine. They're allowed out. But yeah, it's crazy. Like, it probably will go ahead. I just feel like it's probably not morally correct. To basically say this tennis tournament's more important than Australians getting home. It seems a bit wrong.
Yeah, but then you could probably argue, should any sports all sports are morally wrong to be happening at the moment. I guess we just have to look at it like it's everyone doing their own jobs and getting on with it. Although you could argue half it isn't essential, but it is what it is. I guess the interesting thing is whether they're going to have they're going to be able to get crowds in for that, because I know with the cricket, like they've been able to, depending on what state they've been playing in, they've managed to get some sort of reduced capacity crowd. Like for right now, I think they're playing in Brisbane and they've managed to get 50%.
I think in Melbourne they're not. From what I've read, I'm pretty sure there's no crowds at all.
Yeah.
But the thing is, qualifying happened this week for the event. But it happened in Dubai.
Of course it did.
So players could get the feel of the tournament really well. A few miles away, 100 miles. But
Dubai's the place to be. Dubai is the place to be right now. Apparently,
it is. But
mate, you're going to Dubai, mate. You're an influencer, aren't you?
Of Of course, mate. Of course. I'll be hopping on my private jet and,
jump on his LinkedIn page as soon as you get.
So blessed to have a holiday like this.
love my hashtag love my job.
Hashtag love my job.
Here's to a prosperous year, guys.
Too blessed to be stressed.
Okay, we got one more sport to cover here in our sports roundup, and that's the snooker.
Big
I think
final.
the only person that watches it is Gary.
No, Nabille's been watching it.
I'll watch it as well. I'll watch it as well.
Go ahead, Nabille.
The biggest shock for me, the biggest shock was Ronnie losing to John Higgins.
No, you're wrong.
Well, what were you going to say? Judd Trump not managing testing positive was a bit of a downer for me personally because I thought he would have been my favourite to win the Masters this year. But
I thought Kyron Wilson was going to go far, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then he lost to Gilbert, who is a bit of a nobody.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a shock. But the biggest shock was Jan beating Neil Robertson.
Yeah. Yeah.
John Higgins has been there and done it. Like, it's no surprise if he beats any of the top players. He's world number 6, but Jan beating Neil Robertson. That's the biggest surprise of the tournament.
Is Jan not a guy who typically wins a lot?
I don't think he's ever won a major. He hasn't won a major. I don't think he's won.
Isn't he only a kid though?
Yeah, he's still young. Like, I fully expect he will go on and be like the next big Asian superstar in snooker.
He'll never be a Ding Junhui.
Well, I think he probably would do better than Ding.
To be fair, he's doing very well.
He won a major and then kind of just disappeared.
Yeah, they're always the worst kind though. Like, do you remember years ago? I can't remember who it was, but I think Stuart Bingham was the winner last year, for example. And I don't think Stuart Bingham has done anything since, basically. But he's doing really well in the final, Jan. Like, I'm looking at the score right now. It's 5-5. He's been putting a good performance. Higgins hasn't been quite as good as what he has been in the last few days. I'm tempted to still go with Higgins to win the final just purely because he has that big match winning experience and he's won the biggest prizes in the sport.
Like, I've only ever seen Jan play a few times because where he is fairly new onto the main tour. But he's one of those players where for a few frames he will look like the best player in the world. And then he'll look like he's an amateur for a few frames after. And that could be the reason he never wins a major, is if he can't find that consistency for a whole match. Because if you look at all his results so far, they've been by like 1 frame victories. Like, he hasn't just wiped someone away like a Ronnie O'Sullivan does.
Yeah.
Guys, I can't wait to get back to word of mouth. Watch a Premier League game while we play some snooker.
Oh, those sticky floors, those.
How we miss it? How we miss it all?
Cocaine toilets, the sticky pool cues, the slot machines that Gary goes on.
That's when I'm at my happiest.
Disclaimer: we have nothing against the employees or the regime that run in word of mouth. I would just like to say we are completely neutral.
Wait, do you think we have listeners on word of mouth? Is this what we're covering ourselves? Have you advertised our podcast there?
No, I said disclaimer, we have nothing against the regimes or the people that work at word of mouth.
Mate, if you're in contact with them, mate, can you ask them to firstly sort out the Pepsi so it's not so flat? Secondly, sort out the screens because the screens, honestly, the resolution is fucking terrible in there.
Yeah, downstairs it's like a 5-inch display.
Mate, it's like fucking watching it on my 1998 iPad.
Adam has sent many emails to them asking them to fix it, but
they're literally streaming it from Gary's house in Uganda.
How is Uganda, Gary?
Oh, superb, mate.
Okay.
Makes a difference to Madrid.
You get around a lot. You really do travel. Let's come away from the sports roundup, and we're now going to go into the sporting highlight of the week. Adam, do you want to start us off with your highlight?
No.
Okay, Nabeel?
Well, I mean, if Adam doesn't have a sporting highlight, I guess...
Don't you fucking steal my one, mate. I'm looking at the notes right now. You ain't got one.
No, I probably am, just because I'm so devoid of sporting highlights this week. I'm going to go with Joe Root getting a double 100.
Of course you have. Oh, Joe Root!
Root!
Hey, Rudy boy.
No, I think it's more important for him to have a good year as England captain. His performances as a batsman haven't been up to scratch for the last few years, and that's why I guess as part of he's sort of dropped off the big
Is that what
three.
he's known for? Is batting?
Well, he is a very good batsman. He's one. I think he'll end up being England's most successful batsman, at least in Test match cricket, anyway.
Wow.
In terms of runs, but it was a big performance from him because he hasn't scored a lot of hundreds in the last year or so.
Are you telling me he's better than Daniel?
Of
Ooh.
course, mate. Of course.
What about Shamal?
Daniel, if you're listening, man, I'm
Whoa,
sorry
don't
you've
know
had to hear this. Jeez, man, it's a hard blow.
Don't know about Shamal actually. Shamal's very, he's got a bit of
But
timber.
the ball
About.
can't get past Shamal. Fucking hell.
Exactly. He's
Guy's
got
got an absolute unit.
he's got
LBW, more like LBW.
the irony is Shamal's actually very good at cricket.
I can imagine, because you can't fucking tackle him at football, mate. He kills you.
Yeah.
The funny thing about Joe Root is he really looks like a cricket player.
Yeah,
Like, if you look at what he does for a living,
I know
he
what you
plays
mean.
cricket.
Yeah, he's just got scraggly hair. He's got that baby face, boyish look, and
Exactly.
you can
Looks like
just
he's
tell.
well
You can
educated.
just tell. Yeah, you can just tell he's well educated, posh boy. Basically, 99% of the people that play cricket are posh boys. No, I'm
Shamal,
kidding.
is it?
Shamal definitely isn't. No,
Apart from Damal and Daniel and Shamal.
apart from Daniel Shamal.
Um,
No, that's. I don't mean
Okay.
it.
Okay, and Adam, your highlight? You
No.
ready now?
No.
He's still not ready. He's trying to think of something.
No, I've got something. You read the notes, man. I've got something, man. I just don't want to do it.
Oh, Marco van Ginkel celebrates return to action after spending 983 days on the side. What sport is that?
Football, you absolute melon.
Who's Marco van Ginkel?
Do you not remember Chelsea signed him? Yeah. They signed him ages ago, and he had a really bad knee injury. He hasn't played for, as you can see in my notes, 983 days. He's now on loan at, I can't tell you where. And he's just come back.
Guys, I think we're forgetting that Chelsea's longest-serving player, Lucas Piazon, has finally left the club, having played a grand total of 2 times for Chelsea in that period.
He's a Chelsea legend. It's plain and simple.
Absolutely, mate. What a great player he was. What a great career at Chelsea as well.
Okay, anything more to say on the matter, Adam?
No, but there's hope for you yet, Simon.
So, yes, I'll be back. I'll be back.
You'll
I'm
be back.
younger than Marco, so I'll be back.
You can be players with Liverpool, mate. Trust me. In a few years' time,
Well, as long as
they need a
I'm
centre back. If you can train, there's a centre back. They need one. So
Leisure League is good enough for me. I can't hold a defensive line, so there's no chance. Okay, my sporting highlight of the week. I hope you guys saw it. It was LeBron James with the turnaround 3-pointer. Did you guys see it?
No.
No.
He took the shot. He turned to the bench. He was that confident it was going in. The bench.
Oh no, sorry, I did see this. Yes. Apparently, he had a bet on with someone, or they said, "Bet you can't do that." And at the same time, he turned around and.
Was that Dennis Schroeder? They had to bet with.
Yeah, it was Dennis. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You haven't seen it, but you know who it is.
Yeah, I heard about it. I haven't seen it.
BBC Sports News. That's what he's got it from. That's where Gary's always sporting. Like, he's reading BBC Sport.
Exactly. He's got it open right now.
Every time I'm with him, he's reading the BBC Sport page.
He just absorbs the knowledge as well. It just soaks into his brain, and he can.
That's what he knows about. The amount of years he spent on the BBC Sports homepage, just reading everything.
And talking to Gary, what was your highlight of the week?
Here we go.
Seshka Jones. Quality player, mate. Quality player. She qualified for the Australian Open. And guess what?
Why are you reading it like it's Audible or something? Just get on with it.
Guess what? Guess what, Simon?
You're recording it for Audible right
She's
now.
missing toes and fingers. She doesn't
She
even
what?
have. She's missing both her toes and fingers. Like, how cool is that?
How many toes is she missing?
What is going on? What are we talking about?
Francesca Jones, mate.
In what sport? You haven't disclosed what sport.
In tennis.
That's not
She
bowling,
plays
is it?
tennis with only 3 toes on her right foot and 4 on the left, and is missing a finger on both hands. Well, that's pretty cool.
That is impressive.
Yeah. She was told she'd
Wow.
never play tennis.
And she's only 20 years old.
Yeah, and now she's qualified for the Australian Open. At the age of 20. What the fuck are you guys doing?
Where have you? Is it BBC Sport again? Where have you learned this from? Is it BBC Sport?
Have you never heard of Francesca Jones, mate?
No, but where have you found this out? Because
You're
you
a
don't.
cultured swine, mate.
Gary watches Sky Sports News, so he knows these
Yeah,
things.
I have Sky Sports News open whilst reading BBC News, mate.
Of course you did.
And he has flash scores on his phone. He has everything
Yeah.
all at
All
once.
whilst getting 50 wins in Apex in the season.
50?
Yeah, that's it. That's
Wow.
how many I got this season. Yeah.
What's he talking about?
He's talking about Apex Legends, but we'll come away from this. This is a sporting.
That's a separate podcast.
We're not going to talk about how good One Division was. We're going to keep it focused on sports.
Why is Nabeel updating the living invitation things for next week?
He does this every time. Bill, we are here. We are recording right now. He does update the invitation.
Nah, just updating the time in case we overrun.
Yeah, but why? I'm not going to forget. I'm not going to just sign off at 8:30.
It's more for me. It's more for me than you guys. To be fair.
Do you manage your diary? Are you charging Simon for this? Is this why we can only afford you 1 day a week because you're charging Simon back for your time?
Well, I'm
He's
a
on the
very
payroll.
organised person, guys.
Maybe you're actively doing the podcast right now. It's not like you're going to be suddenly busy at, like in 8:45.
Send you an invite for now.
Okay, let's go into the final section.
Can everybody be ready for now, please?
We have to get to the point of why he's done this. We can't end the podcast till we know.
Gary, take it away with the quiz.
Oh yeah, we got a quiz, don't we?
It's a
Yeah.
quiz special, apparently.
So as it was Adam's birthday earlier this week.
Oh, it's 2-0 City, by the way. Congratulations.
Okay, cool. So yeah, as it's Adam's birthday, I thought I'd give him 10 questions on West Ham over the last decade.
I'm going to get all of them wrong.
So Nabeel, I'd like you to show Adam up, please, and get as many right.
Oh, that is a very good goal by Gundogan, I have to say.
So
Very
Adam,
good goal.
your first question.
Top right-hand corner.
Who was West Ham's top goal scorer in the league during the 2010/11 Premier League campaign?
You know I didn't support them in the relegation season, right? But it's Demba Ba.
I don't give a shit, mate. It was Demba Ba. Congratulations. 7 goals that season. West Ham lost in the first round of the 2011-12 League Cup. But who scored the final winner?
That's fine. That must be Danny Hilton, surely.
It was Danny Hilton, my man. 89-minute winner.
Your boy.
Who was their captain in their first season back in the Premier League?
Nolan.
Correct.
The mighty Kevin Nolan. What a captain.
Who was the only player to start every game in their 2013-14 campaign?
It wouldn't be Reed because he'd get injured. Noble, I'd guess that, but Noble.
So not the goalkeeper.
Oh, I wasn't right. It could have been Robert. No, who is it? Was it Jääskeläinen? Jussi Jääskeläinen. Was it him? Then if it's a goalkeeper, it's got to be him.
No, it's Mark Noble.
Fucking mate. Thanks for that, mate.
I'll give you that one. But you did say it. Only one player received a red card during West Ham's 2014-15 season. Who was it?
Is that Andy Carroll against Swansea?
No, it was James Collins on the opening day against Tottenham.
There was one season where Andy Carroll got a red card. He was only one to see. Well, it might have been. Fucking elbowed someone anyway.
In their final season at the Berlin Ground in 2015-16, who was their biggest league home defeat against? It was a 4-1 defeat.
Oh, was that Swansea? Like that would have been our final game if the United game didn't get delayed.
That sure was Swansea.
Yeah, I remember that as well. We got absolutely battered. It was meant to be our final ever game at Upton Park, but thankfully the United game got delayed. So we actually had a game we didn't expect to win that one. But yeah, that was meant to be the final one as well. Anyway.
West Ham's first season at the Olympic Stadium in 2016-17 saw them beat which team in their opening home league game of the season 1-0?
Bournemouth.
That is correct. Who scored in the 85th minute?
Antonio, of course. Mark Henry.
Sure was. Who was West Ham's top goal scorer in all competitions during the 2017/18 season?
Fuck, mate, we didn't have very good goal scorers at that point. Jeez. 2017-2018 season, our top goal scorer.
11 goals.
11 goals, jeez.
All in the league.
Oh, it must have... Was it Antonio?
No.
Yeah, Andy Carroll's my only other guess. I can't think of who it might have been.
the man that was linked to come back this month, Marko Naučević.
Oh, fuck me, of course. That was his season, wasn't it? Oh, I forgot that was it. I thought that was a season later. Damn.
West Ham's
Forgot.
biggest defeat of the 2018-19 season was a 4-0 loss to which two Premier League sides?
Which two? I think Liverpool was one of them.
Yeah, on
I
the
think-
opening day.
I think you battered us, didn't you? And then
Yeah.
City, maybe?
Yep, on match day 30.
Yeah, I remember the two teams that actually just, that was the Pellegrini year, just absolutely smashed us.
And the final question on last season, how many points were you above the relegation zone at the end of the season?
Oh, it was either 1 or 2, I think. I'm going to go for 2.
It was 5, clear of 4.
5, blimey. Did it better than I thought we did then. Oh,
So
it must have been
7 out
more.
of 10
No.
for the
Okay, I was trying to remember how it ended up at the last game of the season.
Massive.
Yeah, 'cause I remember Villa had to beat us or something to stay up, and they just about they drew in the end, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. I got
That's impressive. 7 out of 10. Fair play.
yeah, not too bad. Not too
Nabeel,
bad.
how many did you get? Nabeel,
It was-
how many did you get?
I think we've ruined him.
Oh, wow.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, mate. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that just
Came
that brings-
last in last week's quiz, though.
that does bring us to the end of the show. Thank you to everyone for hanging in this long. Please check us out on all social media platforms. Check us out now on YouTube, on Spotify, Facebook, Twitter. You can find us pretty much everywhere. I thought it'd be a nice way to end the show. I was trying to sing Happy Birthday to Adam for last Friday. I know there's going to be a bit of a delay between us singing, but we can do our best, right?
We'll try.
Okay.
Gary's not just going to laugh. Are you ready?
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Adam.
Where's Gary?
Happy birthday to
you.
you.
Hip hip.
Did you guys forget to say happy birthday to him on Friday?
Oh, no,
no.
All I'm saying is, I did it then.
Direct message.
I'm not going to do it now.
All right. Anyway, until next week, guys.
Sayonara.
See you later.